Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about some online dating stuff today. I was seeing somebody for about 6 months. Um, that wrapped up about a month or two ago now. And I, of course, find myself back in the dating market. And of course, I use many avenues to try to meet new girls, but I do the online dating thing too. And it's like, I haven't even been back for, much but a couple of weeks. And I'm already just immediately reminded about how much I despise this stuff in a way, and just how silly this whole game can be at times. Just this week, I had two really kind of funny things that I think happens to a lot of us these days. And it's just rude. It's just, of course, like something like this happens, and it doesn't make you feel good on the inside. But I want to talk with you specifically about that, guys. These two situations that I had, it was literally the type of thing where I was going back and forth for like 10, 15 minutes in a text conversation with two of these girls I was trying to connect with. And like literally like halfway, like awkwardly, like right in the middle of the conversation, something was said. I don't know what it was that turned them off or whatever. And like they literally like unmatched me like in real time, like kind of like a right in your face, like, hey, we're right in the middle of a conversation and something changed, and they just like unfriended you like right then and there. And it always makes me kind of chuckle a little bit. Of course, I'm a human and I have those feelings of like rejection doesn't feel good. It's not doesn't make you feel good when somebody is rude to you. Um, and I just I have some reflections about that, and I want to talk to you guys about that, how to look at this situation, how to handle it, and to give you a couple extra things to think about when these sorts of things happen to you. So, number one, first and foremost, you should know by now, you can't take this stuff personally, guys. This is still just a stranger. This is a nobody. This is like somebody that is honestly completely irrelevant in your life. You can't give them the power to let something like that ruin the rest of your day or like sour your whole opinion of trying to date. I know this stuff, it happens a lot and it's got a way of grinding you down. I know it, I just get that psychology, but you've got to have the power to zoom back and just remind yourself this is not all women. This is some women. Maybe even, you might argue like this is a lot of women in this present day and age, like here in America anyways, for whatever reason. But I want to touch on some of those things too, because I think a little bit of that has to do with like my geographic location. Like I'm in a major metropolitan area, and I think things just go down a little bit differently here for a multitude of reasons. But like I said, guys, number one, don't take it personally. Okay. Number two is like after I get over those like couple minutes of like that initial punched in the gut sort of like that sucked. This was somebody I was kind of interested in and wanted to see what was up, and she just decided to unfriend me in real time or unmatch me in real time, whatever. On the back end of that, I also remind myself that hey, the reality is this girl probably just saved me a lot of time and money. Okay, this girl that I was talking to lives like 45 minutes from where I'm at. She's in the center of the main city here. And I'm like, for me to put effort into like taking time out of my day to like travel into the city, spend my money, spend my time, invest in such a way for somebody that's like going to do something like that to you, um, I just think it's like a tremendous savings in a way. And I almost look at that, I'm like, well, thanks, girl. Thanks a lot for not making me do something like that, and figuring out that you're this type of person, having to go through all those steps I just described. I didn't have to do any of that. So it's like in some twisted, funny way, I'm thankful that those interactions end in such a way at some point. So try to look at it that way. Like thank them for nixing you right off the bat because it saved you some headache and heartache. And you know what? Like you never know too that even if you were to get some traction with something like this, even if you were to get a few months into dating somebody and you find out that, they've got this sort of capacity inside of them to be this rude to a stranger, what does that mean for the type of person they are and what it could equate to when you're actually in a relationship with somebody like this? Their odds are they're probably a shitty, rotten individual, and it's something you wouldn't want to involve yourself with anyway. So once again, you're saving yourself a lot when you get this form of rejection from a woman, I think. Try to look at it in that way because I think that's the reality. The other thing that comes to mind is that I really believe that you should use these sorts of things to fuel yourself to push outside of your box a little bit and do the cold approaches, do the real world stuff, take your power back, guys. I've talked about this so much. there's a whole playlist of like cold approach stuff, and like I'll keep talking about this stuff, and we'll keep hitting it, and we'll keep revisiting that. But even just in my mind, I'm like, when things like this happen, I think to myself, yep, this is more reason for me that I need to like be out there in the real world and take a little bit more control in a different way of the girls that I'm meeting and how I'm interacting with them and being in the real world and actually having the chance to maybe get traction in a different way, for things to go down in a different way, for to not make it so easy for somebody to disrespect you, blatantly like that, or to be that rude to you in this sort of way. It's just different. So it's like I said, I'm just reminded at times about why I almost like despise the online dating stuff so much. It's such a crappy experience for like most users these days. I think males and females alike, for a multitude of reasons. So I think we all share these sorts of thoughts and emotions and feelings, no matter who you are. But use it as fuel, guys. Think about that the next time you're out there. Let's say you're in public and you see somebody that you're attracted to, and you've analyzed the situation, and you think, this is a good one to go in and try to approach. Like, think about like, hey, would I rather do this? Would I rather take this, 30, 60 seconds, like go in, make a cold approach, maybe have something cool happen? Or do I want to do, hours and hours more of swiping and swiping and swiping and get 10 girls that, are going to do the exact same thing that this girl did to me that I'm describing, with this like in your face sort of cut off in real time in the middle of the conversation kind of thing. It's like, when I look at it like that too, I weigh, hey, which one would I rather do? Okay, which one do I feel better about? And I keep coming back to the cold approach stuff. It's real. It's just a different way of going about things. And the other thing, that the last thing I want to leave you guys with, is that when things like this happen, like I said in the beginning, something I wanted to touch on, for anybody that's living in or around a major metropolitan area, just think about the science of the numbers here. When you're in a very populated area, most women have just options and options and options. It allows them to treat people like this. It allows them to just discount them in such a way. And that's supply and demand. You can't be mad at that. That's reality. That's all I'm saying here. It's like, you just have to keep sight of that and understand that. And with that said, with it being known that that is the game, that's the reality of situations. Like when you're in a highly populated area like this, maybe you can start to push yourself a little bit outside of your box. Maybe that means, rather than seeking the girls that are like right in your area, in that focal city area, like maybe you can range out a little bit. Maybe you can look at, people that are in these small towns that are in your surrounding area. Instead of heading west into the city, for me, maybe I'm going east, like out into the valley, like out into the mountains, out into like a different area where the dynamics are just different. There's just not as many guys out there like hitting these girls up. And it's just like it's a different situation. I think people they behave differently, when they're subject to different conditions such as this. I think that's very relevant as we're out there trying to date. The other one too, this has been a long time in my life that I've looked at it this way, but if you guys have never thought about it, trying to meet people that are from alternative cultures. So they're not, let's say, for me and my guys here, they're not American girls that were born and raised here and like came up in this American society. I really respect and admire it. I'm fascinated by people that were raised in a different place, in a different culture, that just have like a different sort of composition inside of them about the way they think, oftentimes their morality, and just like who they are as people and the way they treat other people. Most importantly, I've met some fantastic people from alternative cultures. And to be honest with you, it's actually, for me, it's the thing that, one of the biggest things that I look for when I'm out there dating right now. Like I'm much more fascinated, and I would put a lot more stock in like hopes and like, meeting somebody that comes from this wholly different place than like, I just know nowadays. I think all you guys will probably agree with me, if you're either in America or if you're in like a very westernized culture. I don't, there's a lot of things that we talked about here, but I just feel like the general composition of who people are these days, and who women are specifically these days, and you might even say guys too, who the guys are these days, they're just thinking and acting in a different way in this present day and age, for whatever that's worth. That's my perspective. I hate to cast big blankets over these types of things, but guys, being a 40-year-old male here in the States, like, dating my entire life, like no joke, hundreds and hundreds of women over the course of my tenure here. This is a thing. This is a trend. It's sad. But that's where we're at. And it's like, just like I said a moment ago, you can't be mad at the game. That's the reality. That's the world. Okay, you can piss and moan and be upset and like, no, the world isn't fair and society isn't fair and all this kind of shit. And like, I get that. I understand those feelings. I have those thoughts too. But it's like, hey, at the end of all that, the whining does you no good. What are you going to do about it? Okay. And that's just what I'm trying to push you guys towards. There is alternatives. Like I said, there is girls that are in smaller cities in the United States here that come from a different place. There is girls that were born and raised in a foreign country that immigrated here. There is even girls all around the world that are not, of this like sort of like Western American, sort of mindset that exists here. So you have options. Just always remember that the world is a big, vast, massive place. There's literally billions and billions of girls out there. Every time some little thing like this happens, and it happens to me a lot too, guys. I try to remind myself this is just like the tiny little like pinpoint of a couple people in a grand, vast, amazing world. There's so many options out there, but you've got to have the wherewithal. You've got to like almost like not allow yourself to get defeated and allow yourself to get put down to a point where you want to stop trying, or even worse, when you go out there in the world and you conduct yourself in a different, mean, rude, awful manner to other people because these few bad eggs treated you in a certain way. Okay, just something to think about, guys. All right, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.